Honourable member from Foothills.
Mr. Speaker, it's not good when protesters go to anyone's house, not just the leader of the opposition.
I like how Barrett just keeps saying shameful over and over again. Oh, Greg's gonna mute it again. He's totally gonna do it. Just watch Greg's hands when they start waving around. Oh, see, there you go. There you go. This is exactly why there is a petition out right now to stop Darth Gungus from muting the House.
At a time when 2 million Canadians are forced to a food bank in a single month, when food inflation in Canada is 36% higher than it is in the United States, and a quarter of Canadians are going, 25% of children are going to school hungry, the House Leader of the Liberal government is making this a partisan thing about protesters at the Leader's house, when they should be disgusted that protesters are going to any house of any member of Parliament. I would hope she'll stand up and apologize for those comments.
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, I'm actually really glad to hear that from my honourable colleague, because no protester should be in front of anyone's house, except when the convoy was here, they cheered them on in front of so many residents in Ottawa.
Exactly, in my residence.
Cheered on my residents who prevented them from going to the hospital, who prevented them from going to the grocery store, who prevented them from ambulances arriving at their homes. Mr. Speaker, there is a double standard on that side of the house.
Whoa! I have never seen her raise her voice ever. I could actually hear what she was saying. She has gone ballistic, like Russia with the ICBM, and Fungus has just muted the House of Commons for the third time in a row. We have quite the list of news to go through. Some repeated news from yesterday as well that I want to cover again very briefly, but let's get into it. Let's waste no time here. Russia fires intercontinental ballistic missile in attack on Ukraine, Kiev says. Ukraine claims Russia fired ICBM at Dnipro, however you pronounce that city in Ukraine. We keep going here. It just seems to get weirder and weirder. This is from CNN. Ukraine's military has accused Russia of firing an ICBM into its territory for the first time, marking what would be another significant escalation in the 1,000-day-old war. Despite Kyiv's accusations, two Western officials said that the missile launched by Russia was a ballistic missile, but not a intercontinental ballistic missile. The Kremlin has declined to comment on the matter. We then get another thing here from the EU saying that this would be a clear escalation. We have another thing here from the NDTV world. Russia's firing of the ICBM on Ukraine is weapons first combat use in history. And then we have this article. Putin says Russia hit Ukraine with new intermediate range ballistic missiles. So what actually is it? Is it an ICBM? Is it this brand new variant of missile that Putin is claiming? But no, CNN just claimed that the Kremlin denied any matter into this and didn't want to speak about it. We then get this video here. In a theatrical presentation likely designed to strike fear into the hearts of naive Western politicians, this is from the Kyiv Post, by the way, in effort to tie Putin himself to last night's ICBM strike on Ukraine. This is what they're claiming. Russia Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova allegedly receives a call from higher-ups in the middle of a press briefing advising her to avoid commenting on the event. We skip a little bit ahead here. There are subtitles that you can pay attention to. So if we'll just play this back here. Hello, yes, I'm in the middle of a briefing. Whether this is true or not is one thing completely. I have no idea. We're getting a lot of what I would like to say random information that's not adding up, right? For example, CNN said that the Kremlin didn't want to speak on this matter, but we just had an article saying that Putin said it was a intermediate range missile. Now we have this video. Hello, yes, I'm in the middle of the briefing. Do not comment at all on the ballistic missile strike on however you pronounce that city. I'm not even going to attempt to. Southern Machine Building Plant, as the Westerners started talking about it. Then she says, yes, okay, thank you. This is in the middle of a massive press conference or briefing on the situation going on. I have no actual clue what's going on. There's, like I said, a lot of random information that is not adding up. Or when you try to make a connection from one thing to another, you're sitting there going, well, kind of contradicting themselves, aren't they? I don't know. We don't have a lot of what I would say solid, good information. I don't want to say disinformation, but I don't know yet. We don't have solid evidence of what exactly is going on. Speaking of a story here, Randy out of cabinet after shifting claims about indigenous heritage. This is the guy who claimed he had some sort of indigenous background and that he was part native. Let's just say he lied through his teeth over and over and over again during question period. He was questioned numerous times to tell the truth, just to give the actual information out. Was he the real Randy? Who is the other Randy? Where did the money go? Why did he lie about being indigenous? I don't know, but he is apparently gone, and he's going to be out of cabinet to focus on clearing the allegations, Trudeau announces. This just makes me think that he'll be back. This is clearly just Trudeau trying to sweep more stuff under the rug. Typical stuff from him. Let's take a look at the Conservatives and what they had to say about the controversy.
Mr. Barrett, on Randy Boissonneau, Global News is reporting that Edmonton police are investigating his company and his former business partner. Do you have any response to that?
Well, look, Randy Boissonneau has been proven to be a fraud. He has no business serving in cabinet. He needs to resign immediately. It's disappointing but not surprising that Justin Trudeau hasn't fired him. Look, this is a cabinet minister who operated a business from the cabinet table. We know that Randy Boissonneau said one thing, but the opposite has been proven true through text messages. We know that his company, well, he had a 50% stake in it, was bidding on government contracts like the one that they received from Canada Post. We know that his company was applying for contracts claiming to be 100% Indigenous owned when Randy Boissonneau himself has said that that's not the case, that he was falsely claiming to have been Indigenous, thereby disenfranchising and disadvantaging Indigenous-owned businesses. So this is who Justin Trudeau is deciding to keep in his cabinet. It's absolutely unacceptable. And now with new revelations, it's not just fraud cases that are before the courts. Now there is a criminal investigation by the Edmonton Police Service. But Justin Trudeau yesterday professed his continued confidence. I do have that question for some of the ministers. Yesterday we asked Indigenous Services Minister Patty Hajdu, and she offered no defense of Randy Boissonneau and said it was in fact problematic, the conduct that he had engaged in. So some deep reflection is needed by the Prime Minister and by the Liberal caucus on why it is that Randy Boissonneau is being permitted to stay in their cabinet and I would say to stay in their caucus.
What do you make of the fact President
And there you have it. Yes, big bad Randy has he's gotten the boot here.
The NDP leader said the Liberals were too weak, too selfish, too beholden to corporate interest to fight for Canadians. But it only took him 2 months to renege on his word, reaffirm his commitment to the Prime Minister and his costly coalition, and keep Canadians in carbon tax hell. Today he reaffirmed that he is committed and showed his confidence in this Prime Minister in quadrupling the carbon tax on farmers, on food, and fuel. How about a common sense solution? Axe the carbon tax on everything, for everyone, forever. Will the Prime Minister Canadians and call it carbon tax election?
Oh, they cut him off there for a second. Okay.
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, we are delivering real relief for Canadians. And it is the Conservatives who are trying to now make life more expensive when they have an opportunity to help Canadians with the high cost of living. But this is unsurprising, Mr. Speaker, because it's from the same party whose leader was delivering donuts to people out here who were protesting. And yet this morning had protesters removed by police from his home, Mr. Speaker. The guy who cares about freedom of speech certainly doesn't like it when people oppose his views. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, it's about to get real rowdy. They are shouting back and forth at one another right now. If you take a look down here. Those were some fighting words from Karina. And Greg just muted the House of Commons. I knew it was coming. He was waving his fingers around like Harry Potter does with his wand. And here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. No sound. The dictator. Fred. I was about to call him Fred Gungus. Yeah, sure, we could call him Fred Gungus. Muting the House of Commons. Greg Fungus muting so the taxpayers cannot hear what is going on. Classic move by Fred Gungus, or Greg Fungus, or Greg Fergus. I don't even know his name anymore. Darth Fergus.
The honourable member from Foothills.
Mr. Speaker, it's not good when protesters go to anyone's house, not just a leader of the opposition.
I like how Barrett just keeps saying shameful over and over again. Oh, Greg's gonna mute it again. He's totally gonna do it. Just watch Greg's hands when they start waving around. Oh, see, there you go. There you go. Emperor Greg controlling the CPAC audio. What a disgrace indeed. Gungus gone. Yes, Darth Freg Gungus. This is wild. This is wild. Oh my god, man. This is exactly why there is a petition out right now to stop Darth Gungus from muting the House.
At a time when 2 million Canadians are forced to a food bank in a single month, when food inflation in Canada is 36% higher than it is in the United States, and a quarter of Canadians are going, 25% of children are going to school hungry, the House Leader of the Liberal government is making this a partisan thing about protesters at the Leader's house, when they should be disgusted that protesters are going to any house of any member of Parliament. I would hope she'll stand up and apologize for those comments.
Oh! Greg is going to mute the mic again. Probably not. Oh, I say probably not, but just wait for it. Just watch his hands. It's getting rowdy here at the ending of question period. We got about like 20 minutes left.
Colleagues, the honourable leader of the government in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, I'm actually really glad to hear that from my honourable colleague, because no protester should be in front of anyone's house, except when the Convoy was here, they cheered them on in front of so many residents in Ottawa.
Exactly, in my residence.
Cheered on
my residence.
who prevented them from going to the hospital, who prevented them from going to the grocery store, who prevented them from ambulances arriving at their homes. Mr. Speaker, there is a double standard on that side of the house.
Whoa! Whoa! I have never seen her raise her voice ever. ever. I could actually hear what she was saying. She has gone ballistic like Russia with the ICBM, and Fungus has just muted the House of Commons for the third time in a row. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining right now, it is getting wild. Karina is unhinged.
Going on, there's a crisis that exists in Canada.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
From St. Albert, Edmonton, please control himself in this place.
What did he say?
Outside of this
What did he say?
I'm going to invite the honourable member from Cumberland. Everyone, relax. The honourable member from Cumberland Colchester will start again.
Wild.
Mr. Speaker, despite the messy split in September, it looks like Canada's NDP Liberal woke power couple has gotten back together again. And they're coming for Canadian hard-earned money. Canadians are not fooled by their temporary tax trickery. 53% more Nova Scotians are using food banks than 5 years ago. Almost 40,000 Nova Scotians are visiting food banks every month, and 12,000 of them are children. Here's a better and common sense solution. Axe the carbon tax on everything, for everyone, forever. Cheaper gas, groceries, and home heating, and everything that's shipped. Will the Prime Minister call a carbon tax election?
I swear she went full Justin Trudeau there with the hand pointing and the yelling and everything.
Mr. Speaker, if that member and any of the members of the Conservative Party of Canada actually cared about affordability for Canadians, they would support this measure to remove the GST on essential items that we are putting forward that is going to help Canadians over the coming months get through these challenging times. But, Mr. Speaker, this is a pattern of behaviour. They say one thing, they do another, whether that is with regards to supporting Canadians through affordability challenges, muzzling their members of Parliament who try to speak up on behalf of their constituents, or taking away, removing protesters by police that don't agree with them. Mr. Speaker, they are completely disrespectful to Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Edmonton Strathcona.
Mr. Speaker, this morning the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu, the former Minister Gallant, and Hamas leader Deif for crimes against humanity and war crimes. Palestinian and Israeli civilians have faced horrific violence at the hands of the Netanyahu government and Hamas. Unlike many other ICC countries, this Prime Minister has not been clear, and Canadians deserve an answer. Will the government enforce these arrest warrants and ensure that the victims of these war crimes see the justice that they deserve?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We respect the independence of the International Criminal Court. We will abide by all the regulations and rulings of the International Criminal Court. That is just who we are as Canadians. But let me be clear, all parties must abide by international law. We also know that an immediate ceasefire is urgently needed. Hostages must be released, Hamas must lay down its arms, more aid must get into Gaza, and the violence must stop. Thank you, Mr.
And what steps have you guys taken to do literally any of that? Because all you do is repeat those same phrases over and over again.
Mr. Speaker, we may have another price-fixing scandal in Canada. This time it's not bread but potatoes. Allegedly, two of Canada's big food companies have been colluding together to jack up the price of frozen potato products. Costs of these products have shot up by 40% over the last 2 years. CEOs jacked up the prices and gouged Canadians. Liberals are letting families down while Conservatives cater to these CEOs who fund their election campaigns. Will the Liberals investigate this potential price-fixing French fry gate by greedy CEOs?
French fry gate? Oh my god, they're just making stuff up now, aren't they?
Mr. Speaker, we'll take no lessons from the NDP on that, Mr. Speaker. In fact, it was a Liberal government government, Mr. Speaker,
Mr.
that reformed
Speaker.
the Competition Act in this country. Now, Mr. Speaker, thanks to our government, consumer at home know that we're going to have their back, Mr. Speaker. We have given new powers to the Competition Commissioner to investigate. We expect him to use all his power and to make sure that we restore competition in this country at every single time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Kingston and the Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We know that the last couple years have been particularly challenging, and although inflation is continuing to come down, households haven't particularly started to feel that. That is why we introduced very important measures today to provide relief to Canadians. It is yet to be seen whether or not the Conservative leader will allow his MPs to vote in favour of what is so important for their constituents. We do know that he prevented them from talking about housing money and also from continually muzzling them from representing their communities. I'm wondering if the President of the Treasury Board can help inform Conservatives why it's so important to vote in favour of this legislation.
Hear, hear.
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, diapers, groceries, prepared meals, essential goods, what do these things have in common? They're all tax-free for the holidays, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, okay, I'm just gonna do us all a favor and mute that because her voice, man, is actually like nails on a chalkboard. I'm not saying I have the most fantastic voice either, but oh my god, man. It is brutal. She is actually worse than Chrystia Freeland. I think she truly is.
Every day is a great day to fight for Canadians.
The honourable member from Leeds Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes.
The Liberals are trying to hide from Canadians that the company owned by the disgraced Liberal from Edmonton Centre is still eligible to get government contracts. Now, the Prime Minister may believe that his former and failed employment minister is the victim, but the real victims, of course, are Indigenous people and the people defrauded by his company. So to this point, the Prime Minister has failed to ban global health imports from bidding on contracts with the Government of Canada. Will he stand up and ban them today?